technology. And the Miami Hurricanes undefeated with 6 wins on the slate. And last Wednesday night in the ACC SEC Women's Challenge. Awfully impressive in Starkville. Opening tap controlled by the Canes. That was Jaida Patrick, and here we go. Cheyenne Day-Wilson, the Duke transfer, will set up the offense. They'll go inside out some tonight. Oldacre, the dump off inside to Patrick, and Miami scores first.
Boy, that's a great look and a good pass by Oldacre. And we talked to Katie Meyer and know that they want to attack. They want to go inside out and utilize their strengths.
Kenneth Squire, second team, two-time rather All-America East third-team performer. Thuniga, the leading scorer that we talked about already. An open look from outside is off the mark. And the putback is up and in, and that was Squire.
Squire, the 5'9" graduate student, contributing so much of this team. You had mentioned Cheyenne Day-Wilson, one of a few Canadians on this team that we'll get to talk about, but it's been a big contribution to this Hurricane squad.
Saw the starting 5 for the Canes. No Jalea Williams today. Inside, and a great look. Oldacre connects. Highlanders on the move, and a foul call, and that's going to put Thuniga at the stripe. Highlanders setting up their offense in that secondary fast break. Alejandro shooting 79% at the line this year.
The strategy for the Highlanders today, Roy, is all about precision. Coach Lane saying how key it is. No wasted space or movements, and you saw Thuniga right there just go directly to the basket, draw that contact from Oldacre, and then curve her body to still get the shot off with some spin to it. So there's the creativity coming through at the end.
First personal on Oldacre. 2 shots coming for Thuniga. That'll make it 4-3. You do love these early non-conference matchups where NJIT's gotten off to a good start this year. Has the feeling of maybe a first-round matchup in the NCAA tournament come March. You never know how these things will play out, but I think it's a good test, obviously, for both sides and 2 teams that aren't familiar with each other.
Yeah, I like it. You know, NJIT wanting to up their schedule this year. They've played against Notre Dame. This is the second ACC team. You know, and for Miami, you're right. You know, it gives them a sense of a different kind of style, a team that plays very well together. They're efficient. You know, Coach Meyer talking about how aware they need to be defensively of their timing and to be able to guard their yard. I mean, look, NJIT is going to be relentless. All 5 are going to be attacking all day long.
And we've seen that so far. It's tapped out by Trinity Williams. Goes back to the U. Canes take over in a tie ball game, almost 2 minutes in. Joy being a part of the ACC SEC Women's Challenge. Oh, Brooke, you were calling some games as well. Inside, off the mark was Dwyer. The putback up and in. And she was working hard inside, Lachey Dwyer.
Lachey Dwyer has just made leaps and bounds, you know, coming off of a great postseason performance for the Canes last year. She's so dedicated and has demanded to watch film with Coach Meyer. And it's now on a weekly basis in the calendar. But going back to the ACC SEC Challenge, Roy, it was perfect. Ends up 7-7. We had comebacks. We had little, you know, chippy, spicy play. Couldn't have asked for anything better.
Here's Dwyer in transition. Back-to-back buckets.
Wow. And already nearing her total from the last game of 5 points. So I like the fact that she's hunting for a shot. She sees the advantage. Miami playing some great heads-up basketball right now. Getting good looks.
Yeah, you mentioned the comebacks and just the overall spiciness of the event. Had 2 games, and in both games, there were comebacks by really all 4 teams, so to speak. Mississippi State, Miami. Canes trailed by 9 early on the road. Wasn't an issue. They came back and they won it kind of going away. And then Duke, Georgia the next day, kind of the same deal, although Duke trailed a little bit deeper into the 4th quarter of that game. And then came back and rallied in overtime against Georgia in Athens. There was something about the entire event that inspired comebacks, it felt like, across the board. Notre Dame, what it did with the Lady Vols in Knoxville, that was also impressive. They were down 15 at one point.
LSU, Virginia Tech. I mean, we literally had just about, I believe South Carolina, North Carolina was a similar situation. So,
right.
I mean, you're talking the two best women's basketball conferences in the country. And, you know, Coach Mox down at UVA said it all during shoot-around, like, we've got to do our part for the ACC. And Coach Pinchton, her pride was right there, too, for Missouri. It's fantastic. I want to see more of this. And I hope it stays for a very long time because it's great for the game.
I wouldn't mind seeing a round 2, like, into January. Like, put it right in the heart of conference play. Why wouldn't we do something like that? Good take, and inside, it's Jaida Patrick.
Miami exposing NJIT early, getting into the paint. You know, it was interesting when we talked to Coach Lane. He said he said he was late to a Zoom meeting because the players were asking so many questions during film. They said, "Hey, we're seeing where we want to make them and take a hard shot, but they're still making them."
Elbow jumper, silky smooth. That'll make it 10-6. And Trinity Williams connects with the mid-range. Second leading scorer for the Highlanders.
She's been a great addition to the squad as well. Big on the boards, but so much power and precision inside. Look at Miami on an 8-2 run. And just understanding they've got the fast break. And NJIT was very concerned about transition.
And Esquire on the other end, the response, that makes it 12-8. Jaida Patrick has 6 points early for the Canes. And Miami back to work on offense. I knew I could sell you on a round 2 potentially in late January. I just think sometimes conference play gets bogged down. It's entertaining. We understand it. It's great. And with those two leagues, it's really at a premium. But I think also from a fan perspective, coaches wouldn't love it. From a fan perspective, I think it would be outstanding as Jasmyn Roberts with the spin and the finish.
Think about it. It's right before the committees meet. You know, these conferences are going to say, hey, we deserve 8, we deserve 9. Let's put it to the test. It's a bracket buster. You know, we can call it bragging rights, something like that. I love it. Let's bring on round 2. Miami says bring on whatever you want. Bring on whatever. We're on fire today offensively.
Made their last 6 field goals. That was Cheyenne Day Wilson from downtown. And the Canes now with their largest lead at 9.
The Canes getting it going on a Sunday.
17-8. Passed out before the game, and the student section had to beat Miami. A hurricane warning, and I thought that was a nice little tribute on Twitter after the fact.
Hey, you got to have fun with it, and good on Mississippi State for getting the crowd popping and live. What a great game. Good performance there by Roberts on nearly a double-double. Spearman with one herself. And if you look back, Miami shot 50% against a great Mississippi State defense. Now, I know they weren't at full strength, so Coach Meyer recognized that as well. But 18 offensive boards, and they shot 4 of 5 from 3 in the fourth quarter. The Canes carried that offense right over here to the first quarter today.
Yeah, that was their first miss in 7 shots after the bucket by Madeline Dogs. NJIT back to work. Hunega baseline. And tapped away, a steal. Roberts comes away with it. Latasha Lattimore starting to get some more minutes coming off the ACL tear. She is going to be one to watch, I think, as she continues to gain strength in her knee. And Spearman as well, a double-double in Starkville. Lazaria Spearman has been impressive, the sophomore from the Peach State, averaging nearly a double-double this season. Inside, a held ball, and the possession arrow favors Miami.
And the Canes defense able to get a tie-up. Man, for NJIT, I'm sure Coach Lane is saying, hey, we don't want you to dribble too far into traffic there. You want to stop and get that little jump shot that you can. And don't overplay it when you come to the Canes defense because they will stick with you.
17-10 our score. The ACC versus the America East today. He's trying to remain undefeated. Day Wilson inside, and that pass finally collected by Patrick. Off the bounce, here's Lamyah Hylton. How about the ball movements?
Yes, good extra passes. And you get some inside points. That's a great possession for Miami. And Roy, you know this. They want to get those points per possession with a paint touch. I feel like they're so much more efficient when they can get someone in the paint and get that touch on possession. Opens things up. Good response from Thuniga. Woo!
Thuniga high off the glass. Another bucket. That makes it 19-12. Lattimore had the last basket for Miami after tearing her ACL a year ago against Michigan in the old ACC Big Ten Challenge. She's now back and finally off of a minutes restriction. Turns it over here, and here comes NJIT. How hard is it to come back and have complete confidence after tearing your ACL less than a year later, right? I mean, that's, to me, one of the more difficult things in sports.
I cannot imagine. I did not have a knee injury in my career, but, have dealt with some ankle and back injury took me out. And having rehab from your knee, you got to start over from scratch. You're almost learning, not exactly how to walk again, but how to learn how to run again, to plant, to jump, all these things that you take for granted prior to being injured. So for her to be back there and to have the game she did, shot perfect from the floor, 8 points. And Coach talks about how much she's practicing with her instincts now and then just playing free. And that's the last step. So it's great to see her back out there.
No question. Hylton, the Euro. So after the 3 by Patrick, she now has 9. The lead at 10. Highlanders back on the move. And the turnaround in traffic, no good by Williams.
And right there, just good defense by Spearman. Bodied up. Used their advantage and deflected the shot, got the rebound. Nothing too flashy or fancy, able to get the offensive board here, but perhaps will she get called for the over the back? No. NJIT.
A couple of substitutions. Allie Steadman checks in. Jasmyn Roberts back on the floor. And also for NJIT, Lily Anderson, the senior. Canes have it. That's Hylton from the corner. That's another 3. And the Canes are scorching 3 of 5 from downtown.
NJIT late on the coverage there defensively. They don't communicate. Miami recognizes that was brilliant play. Just a quick hit for a Hylton who came alive in that fourth quarter against Mississippi State.
Anderson spun around, collects the rebound off her own miss. Shot clock under 10. And then under duress, outstanding defense by Steadman. The Canes come away with it. Miami, the 25-12 lead. Canes were picked. It's interesting. You look at the ACC preseason poll. Miami was picked 6th. Just 1 year removed from that run into the Elite 8. And I think there were some questions. Destiny Harden off to the W. Where's the scoring going to come from? Will the defense remain the same? So far, so good. But if this team was picked 6, I want to see the 5 teams above Katie Meyer's club by the end of the season. You know what I mean?
Yes, and that's why you love a conference like the ACC, because you look up and down at it. You look what Notre Dame's doing with a young team, and across the board, this conference is so tough to deal with. And for Miami, they lost, over 30 points. Haley Cavender was a terrific guard and really steadied and anchored this offense. And Pendande was a good outside shooter. Miami's still figuring out themselves offensively. They're coming alive today. And defensively, they said, hey, we're back, maybe even better.
Shot clock is off. NJIT with the basketball here at the end of the first quarter. Mid-range, no. Roberts, yes, with a rebound, and she's got time. And an offensive foul. Roberts led with a forearm. And number 4 in white picks up the personal. That'll be her first. Just the 3rd team foul.
Take another look at this one, and you see just enough of the elbow. And she'll get called for the offensive foul. Will NJIT be able to get a shot off? Let's see what play. Coach Lane tries to run perhaps a 3. Thuniga.
On cue, in motion, and she was fouled. Canes with one more to give, 1.9 seconds remaining. NJIT without a bucket in the last 3 minutes. Both teams will substitute here. Squire goes out, and coming in is Spearman. Some size inside for the Canes.
Yep. Be able to bother any interior shots, trying to force NJIT into an outside look.
Dominga, a clean look, but well short, 25-12, 10 minutes in. Good start for a team that could be ranked in the top 25. The latest AP poll. The Tigers, all they did last season was win a national championship. An incredible run led by Destiny Harden, the Cavender twins. Important to remember just kind of how all of that unfolded, in my opinion.
Oh, it was magical to kind of be around the program and to witness that happen in real time. You know, people talk about how important is chemistry. Miami is a perfect example of a team that has that ability when, especially, you mix talent with chemistry in the way that Katie Meyer and her staff create that amongst their players. When they buy in, when you have selfless players in the team and everything starts to go right, you can have runs like that. So you have belief in those timeouts when you're 17 down against a team like Oklahoma State to say, like, okay, we can do this. We expect to win. We expect to be here. So now to come into this season to say, hey, how close were we to being right there? And who we lost to won it all. So let's get right back there to it. Like, Miami is finally tuned, I think, into this season. And Roy, I know you've seen it early on. Women's college basketball starting in November is in March form already, to me.
Two games over on ABC today. And inside, Lamyah Hylton connects.
You know, I think the competition, the sharpness, some of the big shots and big performances. I mean, you got Juju Watkins dropping 30-plus every single time she steps on the floor. It's crazy.
Yeah, it has been a fun start coming off an immaculate finish last year. 10 million viewers for the LSU-Iowa National Championship. 5 million for Iowa's upset against South Carolina. And here's Hylton connecting. She now has 5.
What a great direct route. I mean, there's no wasted movement there. Catches it, puts the ball low, gets by the defense, and then off the glass. She's so confident yet calm out there. You can understand, you know, why they were looking for her late in that win against Mississippi State. She hit big threes.
Yeah, the transfer from Arizona really hadn't done a ton, I should say, in the first part of this season, but now starting to kind of find her rhythm and find her groove at her new school. It's been fun to watch if you're a fan of the Canes.
You and Coach Meyer are similar in that. And me as well. She said, hey, I'm still getting to know her as the transfer. And all the other Canadians were like, Coach, we know her. Trust us. We know. Bring her on board. Coach Meyer showing a lot of love to Canada. She said as soon as she saw and got Lachey and assigned to Miami, she said, yes, I'll be back, Canada. Toronto's a nice place to visit as well. Doesn't hurt.
Anderson connects on the free throw to make it 27-13. Last foul called on Jaida Patrick. Here come the Canes back to work. Impressive start once again, trying to improve to 7-0. Oldacre on the offensive glass. It's up and in, and a chance for 3.
Good execution from Miami against his own defense. They find the open pocket right by that logo. And Oldacre gaining position, keeping those arms up high, and then finishing quickly. She's made great strides in the post, in the paint. Coach Meyer, love how she's in there. She does her job. She secures the paint. She's just big on the offensive boards, and that's what we just saw there.
Sophomore from Mason, Ohio, 3 the hard way. And the lead swells to 17.
How about Oldacre causing that near turnover?
We look at the front court for Miami, and potentially this year as Lattimore gains health and strength in that knee off the torn ACL. She's 6'4". She's a junior. Great experience. Spearman's at 6'4". Oldacre at 6'6". I mean, Miami, as it continues to figure things out with this new roster this season, It's going to be a force, and I think it's going to be fun to watch in the ACC.
Yeah, I mean, length. You have length with flow, and trying to put all those together and new pieces. Every coach is going to go through this. You know, there's always going to be, you feel like, 8 to 10 new pieces on rosters. You know, but for Miami, especially with a lot of players coming from the Canadian background, they play a similar style that fits in especially nice to Miami's program. That was a nice take inside from Thuniga.
30-15. Thuniga continues her outstanding play. The America East Rookie of the Year last season. She's got 6 points so far this afternoon. Deep three, no. And tapped out to NJIT. Katie Meyer with a timeout on the floor, giving instructions to her team. Now in year number 19 in Coral Gables as we step aside.
Okay.
The action on the ESPN app as well. That is Sunday, December 10th. It is hard to believe we're almost halfway through December by that point in time. I'm still trying to figure out what happened to the rest of the year. Here's a steal. And off the bounce, Dwyer gets it back and tapped out. It'll stay with Miami, but this year has flown by.
Yeah, it's been a quick one. It's been a quick one. But I think just knowing how good this season's going to be, I hope that for college basketball fans, that it slows down a little bit so we can all just enjoy all these primetime games. You know, you mentioned getting able to see some more women's games on ABC. Like, we just need them all day long. I love it.
You got South Carolina and Duke over on ABC coming up later today. And we'll see what Kara Lawson's team can do after their impressive overtime win, their comeback victory against Georgia last Thursday night. And they've got some athleticism in the backcourt at Duke. A couple of freshmen, a couple of McDonald's All-Americans that are going to find their way quickly. Yes.
Yeah. She was impressive at Sidwell Friends, seeing her play alongside Kiki Rice for a few years. And, yeah, she can just casually dunk it every now and then. We might see that, some ACC play this year.
But I think that's a team that's only going to get stronger, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Talk about defense. Duke defense is stifling.
Stedman, the step back. Miami really wants to get her going at some point in the Pepperdine transfer. And not that time. Highlanders back to work. That's a three. And that's splashed home easily. Make it 30-18.
I mean, NJIT staying within reachable distance here. Shooting only 17% from three. Nice spin move and finish inside. Miami get more points in the paint. Jasmyn Roberts, the footwork. But NJIT has got to do some type of job of making Miami shoot outside, at least getting some deflections or stopping the fast break.
Stedman forced the turnover after the three by Myers for NJIT on their previous possession. And then the bucket by Roberts. Really starting to find a nice rhythm for number 4 in White. A couple of steals today as well. She's got 2. And it's 32-18 with more substitutions. Lattimore checking in. And Cheyenne Day Wilson as well for head coach Katie Meyer.
So nice for Katie Meyer, who's known to have a deep roster and bench. 45 points in that Mississippi State game came off the bench. Hylton had 16 of those. I mean, you got options like that. Then, to me as a player, the hard part is buying into, hey, I might not have as much playing time. But the pressure of, hey, just do your job instead of having to carry the load for everybody, really, I think, is what makes this team so successful.
Dwyer was able to spring free for a moment. Get the three off. Miami with the offensive rebound. Canes will slow it down. They were on track for 100 points after the first quarter. Pace is slowed down here in the second. Spearman's got to go. A massive step, got to the rim, couldn't finish. And now Stedman. Well, that's a good sign for the U. Allie Stedman, all West Coast Conference freshman team 2 years ago at Pepperdine. She's a sharpshooter and trying to find that range early this season for the Canes.
And you can go back to number 32, Lazaria Spearman, for keeping that play alive so that she could get that shot. It was a great effort to get the offensive rebound. Talk about length. I mean, look, right when she puts her hands up at the top of the key, I'm not trying to shoot anywhere near 32 in white.
Dwyer called for the foul. And we remind you, coming up Wednesday, it's a doubleheader for men's college basketball here on ACC Network. Up first, Rutgers taking on Wake Forest. And that's at 6 Eastern. South Carolina faces Clemson to wrap up the night from Littlejohn Coliseum. I'll be on the call for that one. Looking forward to that great rivalry matchup. You got Clemson and Pittsburgh coming up as soon as we're done here in Coral Gables on the men's side. Tigers trying to stay undefeated. And, Brooke, I'm going to tell you this. Brad Brunell's team beats Pitt today. I think they'll be ranked in the AP Top 25.
Uh-oh, here
for that
come those
matchup
Tigers
against South Carolina on Wednesday. So file that one away, and we'll see if I'm right.
That would make things nice.
Gamecocks will come into that game undefeated. They handled their business against George Washington 2 nights ago.
Good closeouts by NJIT, but a terrific inside look. Oh, hey now, Spearman getting the and one.
Well, Spearman with the bucket. Felt like she may have pushed off a defender right after she scored, right after the whistle.
Take a look. Well, I'm going to go ahead and say this is a tangle up here in both bodies. You got a box out. And so Spearman might have been trying to clear some room for herself to avoid seriously getting some pressure on that knee. I'm trying to get her out of the way.
That's a great point made by you. 37-18.
Yeah, that's where you get real scared. Like, nope, nowhere near my legs.
Little pick and roll. Instead, it goes outside to Williams off the pump fake. Trying to feed Corbin, who just checked in. She'll go to work. And too strong. NJIT comes up with a rebound. Uniga, no. And Lattimore was hit and fouled.
Now you see how hard NJIT has to work to get a shot, but boy, Thuniga, she's got like Ricky Rubio kind of vibes out there, right? I mean, the one-hander, all these spins going under the basket. I mean, you can't really say she's putting English on it because she's from Spain, so put some Spanish on it.
I see what you did there.
Come on, gotta stick with it. She's a fun player to watch. She is so creative. I mean, at 5'6", to get even a shot off down there in the paint against Miami's length is saying something.
NJIT picked in the middle of the pack of the America East in the preseason poll. Good look inside from Spearman.
Boy, Spearman having herself a game.
She's got 5 and 2 rebounds, 39-18, and the U in the midst of a 9-0 scoring burst.
Spearman coming off right that double-double performance against Mississippi State. 25 minutes off the bench, you get a double-double. Productivity.
It's interesting, too, when you look at Miami's point production this year. Left-handed layup is good by Corbin, her first basket. But 3 of the top 4 scorers for the Canes are coming off of Katie Meyer's bench. It's an interesting way to kind of go about your business this early in the season, but so far it's worked very well. Yeah,
it's interesting. The Canes, we're seeing today, look at how well they share the basketball. We got 10 assists already, and we're not even at halftime.
Jasmyn Roberts now with 6 points, the lead at 21. And Roberts nearly forcing another steal on the other end. And instead it will stay. Actually, it'll go back to the U. The held ball. And Roberts has been active on both ends, and that's certainly a good sign again for the Canes.
Yeah, having a nice day so far. 6 points on 3 of 4 shooting, a couple of boards. Talk about those bench points. Miami already with 14 of them. 41-20 lead.
Are you Zillowing mansions with bowling alleys again?
No.
Yes. From search to agents to getting home.
To go in an entertaining first half in Miami, leading NJIT, the first ever meeting between these two schools, 41-20. Rick Weisbrod, Roy Philpott. More basketball headed your way as we get deeper into the afternoon. It promises to be another fun season in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Canes have it. Kind of back on that pace that we saw in the first quarter, Brooke, where it felt like maybe 100 points would be within reach today, and 41 with 3 to go in the second quarter. Certainly possible still.
Now for Miami, just averages 17.5 points in their first quarter. Have just gotten off to a great start today. I love the way they're sharing the basketball, the way they're spreading the floor out, and then they're able to get inside. So this kind of rhythm is just going to lead to a very productive day for the Canes, who are already shooting over 61% on the afternoon.
Miami has 6 players with at least 1 assist. Jaida Patrick leads all scorers now with 12 points. In her production, she's almost doubled her season average. We still have 2+ minutes to go in our first half. And Miami also 4 of 8 from distance.
Ball goes inside, you skip it, drive and dish, no look. I mean, that's terrific. That's a great possession. If you are Katie Meyer, you're going to clip that and make sure your ladies see it to say, hey, look what great things happen when we're unselfish and move the basketball, do it with pace and purpose. You get a great shot.
Corbin, shot clock winding down, up, no, and back to the Canes.
Lattimore able to affect that one as well with her length. I mean, you just see the wingspans of the post players. Lattimore, Spearman, Oldacre, you mentioned their size. And so if you're NJIT, you want to continue to run your offense. And Coach Lane had talked about wanting to move it to the second and third side, which basically just means you're trying to skip the ball around a bunch, tire out the defense, and then get a great shot. NJIT is not shooting enough for me in the mid-range, which you know I love. They're trying to drive too far into the bigs, and it's getting stuffed.
Canes have 14 points coming off their bench so far. That bench scoring has been ultra productive, as we talked about. 3 of the top 4 scorers starting games from Katie Meyer's bench. Off the miss by Oldacre. Thuniga set up the offense for the Highlanders. And a foul inside. Let's see who they whistled that one on. I believe it was Roberts.
The other challenging part, if you're an NJIT guard, is getting past that first line of defense, right? Roberts and Patrick, Dwyer. You have to get by them in order to free yourself up for any type of shot. So you're fighting not only the length from the post, but the quickness and the strength from the guards. So yeah, he's like, what am I going to do? We see. It's Miami's just too much for a lot of teams. All 6 of them so far.
That last foul actually called on Spearman. You had a great conversation with Mike Lane. I can't wait to talk more about that coming up in our second half today. But this NJIT team is loaded with talent, kind of unique talent with the way they go about their business. And a foul. Oh, 3-second violation was a call. Initially, it looked like there was contact in the back of Spearman. And instead, the Canes turn it over. That'll be their 5th.
I mean, the efficiency really on both sides. And NJIT would obviously like to be much lower, but Miami for only 5 turnovers in the first half. It's a good number for them.
Good look inside. That's going to put Trinity Williams at the stripe. Thuniga threaded the needle and had a big smile on her face afterwards. That'll put Williams at the line shooting too. But yeah, she's the Energizer Bunny, the way that she's able to go about her business. A spark plug for this team for sure.
Right? I mean, never stops. The confidence seems to stay high. And, Coach kind of had to roll the dice and really just sign her based off of film.
Coming up tonight, the Huddle crew will have their annual Selection Day special, a 2-hour show this year that'll include breakdowns and analysis of the ACC's bowl-bound teams and their matchups. Our coverage starts at 6 Eastern, right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app at They're going to have a lot to talk about today, Brooke, because we just found out Florida State was left out of the college football playoff. Oldacre inside. That'll make it 46-21. I'll cut the conversation off there, but be aware there's going to be a lot of fallout and a lot of people conversing about an undefeated team out of the Power 5 being left out of the 14 playoff. And shocking news coming out just a few minutes ago.
Yes, I know you're in the world of college football. You cover a lot of games, so I can only imagine the talk out there right now. On a Sunday, got women's basketball to cover too. Yeah, the ACC's feeling some kind of way right now.
Yes, it is. Foul on the rebound as Madeline Doggs claimed it, and she was bumped with 23.6 seconds to go in the half. Stunning news. But the good news is a lot of bowl-bound teams, they'll break it all down coming up at 6 o'clock tonight at 6 Eastern here on ACC Network. And there will be some matchups. And Florida State's going to come out, you have to think, perhaps on fire, ready to show that they belonged in the final year of a 14 playoff before we get to 12 coming up next season. One more free throw coming. Madeline Doggs, freshman from Wisconsin, shooting 72% on the season. 1 of 2 at the strike. Shot clock is off.
Good chance for Miami to practice, their last second shot opportunities. Oldacre going to get the ball up high. I like the way that she's stepped away from the basket a lot. Her footwork looks so much improved.
I would agree with that. Wide open was Roberts, and Jasmyn Roberts with 8 to close down the first half. 48-20.
Second half.
Yeah, 26-point advantage. Highlanders have the basketball first. Underway back at Watsco Center. In and out with a 3. Canes have it for their first possession. Well, Myers off the mark from distance. NJIT just 1 of 7 from bonus land so far. And a bump by Oldacre. She'll pick up the personal. Didn't like it. Goes back to NJIT.
That's tough because Oldacre had great position for the first 5-6 seconds of that possession. And once they got the ball to her late, it got tapped out, and she got out of position. So then the foul happened. I want to try to hit her earlier. Nice look.
Kenna Squire's been effective. She's got 6 points, yeah.
Great story, too. I mean, 1,200 points for her career, 500 boards. And as an interior design major, she's a graduate student. She misses practice every Monday to go and be an intern. She's got a 5-hour studio gig every Monday. So Coach Lane lets her do it, and she's off and running into her career.
Here's Jasmyn Roberts, a little shake and bake. And the runner, no. And Oldacre sent it off of NJIT player. That could have been through Niga. We'll stay with the Canes, 20 on the shot clock. You had a great conversation with the head coach of the Highlanders, Mike Lane, yesterday. And he kind of was able to dive in a little deeper into what the academic regimen is like for his team. And a lot of engineering majors. You look at a little closer at some of these players. They're majoring in robotics and hoping to have a career in some of those fields, science and technology, once they graduate, right?
Yes, it's a fascinating school. So you're trying to find and recruit players who really understand that they want to go into the world of STEM. And look at some of these majors. Biomaterials characterization. I know that was something I probably would have aced at Coastal Carolina pretty easily. Roy, robotics and programmable logic controllers was more your style. But, I mean, you could barely even say these majors, let alone understand what they're about. 6 engineers, an interior design major, a forensic scientist, which I find so fascinating as well. And you have to play basketball at a Division I level against ACC competition. That's incredible.
Yeah, not easy to do. And you mentioned their schedule had been ratcheted up this year. That'll help prepare the Highlanders for conference play in the rugged America East. feature teams like Vermont. That always seems to be very tough out, not only for league play, but the NCAA tournament as well. And it's also one of the fun aspects of covering college basketball is you get a chance to meet these teams, these coaches, and hear their stories. And maybe, you know, if you're a fan watching today and you're wondering about the New Jersey Institute of Technology, you find out a little more and hear what these players put themselves through in a given week. It's not just getting ready for basketball, but for academics and engineering, no less, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, they'll be likely designing something that's going to affect your life one day. So, especially Thuniga, with the way that she's able to get creative.
She's got 8 points, a couple of free throws, 3 field goals. Jaida Patrick comes up short, trying to chase it down. She caroms out of bounds along with Dogs.
Watch Thuniga. You know, she doesn't waste any time or movement. Great in and out moves. Wire able to stick with her. Thuniga with the tough finish. You know, I love the way that she uses her body at 5'6" to block the ability for the other players to block her shot. She really understands how to use that as a guard.
The one word that comes to mind, creative.
Yeah. Finesse.
If that's a word, we'll go with it. I'm not sure that it is, but...
first of all, you already know when you work with me, we make up words at times.
Well,
anything goes.
Where did you go to college again?
Well, she's so smooth, you know, that Thuniga. She's an international player, but yeah. I think slalom skier was the best comparison that I heard Coach Lane make. She does. She just slices right through it, right down the mountains.
Highlanders back to work. And the turnaround layup attempt by Trinity Williams, no, but a foul was called. And the second leading scorer for NJIT will head to the free throw line, where she's 74% at the stripe this year. Hylton picks up the personal.
Williams is a tough player. She's a 3-sport athlete. She's got soccer and track in her background. And has, you know, at 6'1", competitive size in the league. So kind of seeing what she's able to do. But coming off a 7.9 rebound game herself.
Ten and 6 on the year for Trinity. Native of Pennsylvania. Leading rebounder. Missed that free throw. 48-27. Miami has led throughout. Jumped out to an early advantage. Elbow jumper. Cheyenne Day Wilson.
All right, Wilson's done such a good job of setting up her teammates today. It's good to see her take the shot when it's there, too. Just her 3rd field goal attempt of the day.
First points of the quarter for the U. Come nearly 4 minutes in. Day Wilson, a heat check. She's got 8 and back-to-back buckets for number 30 in white.
She said, don't forget now, your girl can shoot it. I just been giving everybody else their flowers on this Sunday. Great look ahead. Transition, this is what you worried about watching the film. NJIT knew that the Canes were fast and they could get buckets up in a hurry. All right, Day Wilson having herself a game. Heading toward a double-double here now. 8.7 assists.
Transfer from Duke. I'm curious to get your perspective on her potential, because it feels like she could be more aggressive than what she has been at times, but she's also not forcing anything. A good look inside, a little high-low game in the basket for NJIT. But for Day Wilson, I don't know. What's her ceiling, in your opinion, when you watch her play and kind of how she runs this offense?
Well, I like the fact that she's a lot more dedicated to creating shots for her teammate right now. I mean, she was doing that at Duke, and I felt like she had the pressure of scoring more. I mean, maybe just carried that, and I could be completely wrong. It just appeared that way to me. So I like the fact that she's got a team now where 35 points are coming from the bench. Anybody's going to be willing to take the shot, and so that pressure is now gone for her. So she's like, cool, when I feel like taking my shot, I can take it, versus saying, hey, I got to put points up and be the leading scorer on this team.
Niga picks up her first personal. And one more free throw coming for Spearman. Six games and one start for 32 in White. Second free throw goes down. 54-29. Now, I think it is interesting when you talk about replacing the talent from last year's lead 8 team. There was maybe a little indecision in the preseason about what Miami could potentially be. And I think we're finding out a month and a half in that they could be equally as dangerous as what they were a season ago as Roberts picks up the foul.
I agree. And I don't think it's, I think it's a great parallel to look at the players that she's bringing in. And Coach Myers has found that a Canadian player works really well in her system, especially a lot of these players, they know each other. We talked about, Hylton getting endorsed by her fellow Canadians for Coach Meyer to say, okay, I want to bring her on board. She likes that there's a style of play that there's confidence, there's discipline, and then you get that selling point of coming down to Miami and getting to the weather. I mean, what player is going to say no to that? That's what got me down to the beach. I looked at a brochure and I said, hey, that looks like a nice place to go to school.
But I mean, in all seriousness, you grow up in Ontario, you grow up in Toronto, you're north of the border, you're sitting in snow half the year, and all of a sudden you come down to Coral Gables and it's 83 in the middle of January. That's not a bad transition for most people. There's Hylton, fouled on the 3, and she'll shoot 3. We saw a similar situation unfold in Starkville Wednesday night and a 4-point opportunity for the Canes that evening as well. Step aside at Coral Gables, the lead at 24.
Desmond Howard, here to see my college football.
And number 22 Louisville in the annual rivalry grudge match. That's at 2 Eastern. Brooke and I will be on the call for that one. Can't wait. Catch all the action as well on the ESPN app. That's next Sunday, December 10th. And we've talked about production off of Katie Meyer's bench. Today, a little bit of a different story, although the bench has been solid once again. Miami, Brooke, ranking in the top 15 in total bench points per game.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great asset to have for the Hurricanes. And looking into this game, your leading scorer is only at 11 points a game, Jasmyn Roberts. So to be undefeated and to have your bench scoring more than your starters, and today your starters are coming through, you're passing the ball well, you're not turning it over, you're getting those offensive looks and scoring off of turnovers. It's been a really solid, not only start, but day for Miami. There could have been some drop-off, right? I mean, you beat a team, SEC, competitive team on the road. You travel back. You got to go to school. They could have easily overlooked this team. Sometimes these games really test your discipline and your endurance, and whether this could be, all right, if they lose this game, they're not going to be considered for a top 25 ranking. You have to win this game in order to be considered. So big ups to Miami for being mature and handling business so far today.
As a player, how hard is it to wake up, get up, and be adequately prepared for brunch basketball on a Sunday, right? You mentioned the early start. That's not easy to do, as silly as that may sound. I mean, we're all human beings, just to make sure that all the boxes are checked for an early start against a team you're expected to beat. Not necessarily the easiest thing.
Sure. I mean, for example, if the tip time is noon, you're probably getting up at 8 or 7. You have to eat breakfast. You got to get your body ready to move, and all those things that we take for granted just to kind of walk out of our house and feel good. I mean, we're not playing high-level basketball. So, yeah, it's early day for them, for the trainers. So everybody's got to get ready. I was not a great player in the morning. I preferred 7 p.m.
I can't say that I'm shocked by that, but that's another story for another day.
You should be. I'm a morning person now. You should be. They got
grown into that
role. True. Very true.
55-30. Canes and the Highlanders. First meeting. Niga trigger the inbounds. A sophomore from Spain. She's been active. She's been fun to watch. Tied with Squire with 8 points to pace NJIT. 34 on your screen. American East Rookie of the Year last season. Creativity or vision on display today for her squad. Down low to Williams, double team with a left hand, in and out. She'll get it back for a moment. And then Squire comes away with it for the bucket.
Squire is very creative herself. We keep using that word, but I mean, she's got the ability to get lengthy on those shots. She's not elevating big time, and she's not going to cross you up and get by you with quickness. But she's really good at knowing where the basketball's coming off the rim.
Day Wilson looking inside for Lattimore. And Lattimore in traffic. Up and in. She's got 4.
And she's another player that was actually waiting for Coach Meyer after we got off our Zoom. She was waiting her turn to have her film session with her. So she ended up having to wait, I think, a good hour or more after practice was over so Coach could get through all of her media meetings. Oh, okay. That was like a Euro reverse, and we'll give it a little spin at the end. That was a difficult shot. I can't wait to see that one again.
Zuniga now with 10. She's in double figures. How about a 3 for Stedman?
How about that for Miami? You know, you need Stedman to step up and start to have her break out. And here she does a big shot for her in the third. And get that confidence and flow, hopefully.
Kane starting to come back to life here in the second half for the first time. Fighting for the loose rebound. Dwyer rips it away. Stedman wants it. She'll get it. And launching. Back the other way. With the bounce for Squire.
Again.
She's in double figures as well now with 12.
She's got that Euro to her, right? But she's not elevating. Everything is kind of right a foot or an inch or two off the ground, but it's still really smooth.
Squire, 6 of 9 from the floor. There's Stedman again. Spearman checked that Lattimore with the offensive rebound and was fouled on the drive.
Doing what they can to try to keep Miami out of the paint and off the boards, but this is where the strength, the athleticism, the difference in playing in ACC school, that's a perfect example of when it comes into play, because trying to keep her anywhere off of the glass is just not going to happen. So Lattimore showing why she wants to be in the game more. She's so excited to have that minutes cap off and be able to just be out there and play off her instincts.
Started her career at Texas, tore her ACL last year against Michigan in this same building. Now 4 games back coming off the bench. Her minutes are only going to increase as we get deeper into this season, and her confidence in that knee, still as brace, the right side, grows. Approaching a minute to play in the third. Miami has never trailed, trying to improve to 7-0. Zuniga from downtown. That's a 3. She's got 13.
Well, Zuniga has hit a 3 in this game, as has Myers. And now they're just 2 of 10. I mean, think about it. They just hit maybe 4 or 5 of those threes. Do some of, even the turnovers are only at 9. So it's like that has not been hurting them. Just think of some of the shot selection. And some lucky rolls. Had they gone in, this would be within range. But we talked to Zuniga. You've seen her do her work in the paint, those tough finishes. Now you get a sense of her range. She's got a bright future ahead, not only in this league, but certainly for the Spanish team. I know they've got to be excited about her potential and what she can bring for them.
She was defending Oldacre there and actually forced a held ball moments ago, 5-6 versus 6-6. Oldacre wins that battle, and the basket gives her 9 points and 3 boards.
Love to see it. I mean, the toughness on both sides today, right? There hasn't been a loose ball where both teams haven't sent a player to the ground.
But the vision that time to spot Myers. Short on the elbow jumper. Oldacre a rebound. That's her 4th. Shot clock is off here in the third quarter. NJIT outscoring the U before this shot attempt. 17-16 in the third quarter. But it's all Miami so far. 30 minutes in, 64. Wednesday on ACC Network. Two great rivals going toe-to-toe. And, of course, also on the ESPN app. Brooke Weisbrod, Roy Philpott. Fourth quarter resumes in Coral Gables. Score tells the story. Maybe the lingering question, can Cheyenne Day-Wilson record her first ever double-double? She's got 8 points and 8 dimes, just 1 turnover so far for the Duke transfer. Lachey Dwyer up and under and in.
That was nasty. Dwyer going hard, right-handed into the paint, and then just stepping through. The tough finish underhand with the left.
Canes have led by as many as 27, which is right now their largest lead. Never trailed today. And coming up next, Miami will get to Paul. The Paul team, it's a little bit different than what it has been the last couple of years. Another chance to pick up a quality win. And a shot clock violation. Uniga ran out of time in real estate, not realizing the shot clock was near the end for Mike Lane's team.
It gives you a sense of what it feels like to play Miami. I mean, they had every player with a touch. They moved that ball from side to side, back again, and ended up burning out the shot clock for their 10th turnover. And meanwhile, a deflection here, and Oldacre just having a tough day getting these fouls off of just the bumps. Trying to play hard herself, but again, I really like the way that she's moved her effort this afternoon, and how well she moves away from the basket now.
Well, you talked about her footwork earlier, and it looks to be improved going back to last season. And at 6'6", that is certainly something to keep an eye on for the rest of the year. You got 6'6", 6'4", 6'4" in that front court with Spearman, Lattimore, and Oldacre. And you can rotate those players in and out. Dwyer off the steal. She leads Miami in that department. Another bucket and give her 8 today.
And because you have that size, Roy, you have guards who can take these kind of risks. The second near steal in a row for Jaida Patrick. If I'm a Miami guard, I'm going to go after everything because I know how much security I got. Oldacre behind me, 6'6",
right.
Going to shore up that paint. Heck yeah, I'm going for the steal.
Uniga tried to spin and was bottled up by Stedman. Shot clock under 10. And
call.
traveling the call. And we mentioned the footwork for Oldacre, shuffling her feet beautifully there to force the turnover with Lily Anderson giving it up.
Yep, that part. Clip that one for a win. It's been a tough day for Oldacre at times, but at that point, didn't use her hands, right? Just moved laterally side to side, bodied up, and created a turnover with her defense. That was excellent.
Day-Wilson back on the floor, 8 points and 8 dimes. Stedman has had a bit of a breakout afternoon with that 1-3 earlier. Shot clock down to 5. Stedman inside and was bumped and fouled. Allie Stedman to the line, getting set to attempt her first free throws of the season.
Good cut by Stedman, and great look by Cheyenne Day-Wilson. That pass came from up top of the key. That good bounce and pace to it, and that was something, when you had asked earlier about her potential and what Katie Meyer said fits perfectly. She said she loves the combination of her game, being Canadian and American. She said she plays with this bounce and space and pace. And you can see all those elements put together and see where the numbers come out today.
Stedman missed both. The Pepperdine transfer, originally out of Phoenix. It's amazing to see the rosters, like we've talked about, Miami's Canadian influence. Great job Katie Meyer's done recruiting up north. But around the country, everybody is transferred in from everywhere else. The portal has been so crazy at times. That's a 3 for Hylton. And Lamyah Hylton now with 9 points. But roster construction vastly different, Brooke, than when you played at Coastal back in the day.
I cannot imagine these assistant coaches. I will say, I have heard across the board from assistant coaches that they are, they're probably exhausted before, but they are tired They do not get a break. Like, I'm talking about 1 week, 1 weekend in June for some of these staffs out here. So perhaps just, I don't know, timing-wise and with all of these tactics to recruit, if there's something maybe the NCAA can look at. You just kind of help speaking on their behalf. You know, they're not going to be out there talking about how tired they are. They're just going to be out there working. But it also, you know, you look at a transfer portal player, and you know that they've got the Division I experience, so they know what the ropes are like. And so how does that sometimes affect high school players getting recruited? You put all of those into the mix, and it is a new world. I mean, I feel for all the staffs that are handling that, but, you know, sometimes it gets exciting. Like, all right, transfer portal time. Who's available?
Well, the good news is you can turn a roster over and get back to the tournament faster than ever before if you inherit a situation where a roster doesn't have a ton of talent. But the bad news is Uniga, with another basket, the runner that time gives her a team-high 15. Bad news is, yeah, if you're an assistant coach, recruiting never ends. And that I don't think any of us could have forecasted was coming just a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I would agree.
Day Wilson at the line, and her first free throws coming up in the ball game. 8 points, 8 assists, as we documented several times in the fourth. Now give her 9.
Yeah, my mistake. I had said she was 2 for 2 from the free throw line. I should be giving her more buckets. Those came from behind the three-point line.
There you go.
Creeping up. Hopefully Coach Meyer, I'm sure, and her staff are aware close to that double-double. It'd be nice to get that under your belt before her day ends.
Do coaches and staffs, like, are they tracking that and they'll consider it as she takes a seat on the bench?
Maybe not. Well, you know, I think it's a great accolade as a player, and you want to look at the bigger picture. You're getting the win. You can get some rest. But yeah, it is nice to have. So I wouldn't be surprised to maybe see her in for another minute or two if that message gets relayed.
And a foul. See Day Wilson on the bench. Hylton picks up the personal. That's her second. 73-41. Canes have never trailed in this one. First meeting between NJIT, the Miami Hurricanes. Got Clemson and Pittsburgh coming up when we're done here. How about conference play? Kind of sneaking in with an early game around the league, the men's side this weekend. I find that always to be interesting.
Yeah, I like anytime you can shake the basketball schedule up in college, because just remembering as a player, I mean, even over the holidays, you're the only two teams on campus. And you see more defense this time. Hylton, well, she likes these fourth quarters, doesn't she? It's her time.
Got 11 points. Coast to coast that time.
But yeah, as a player, you know, if you're not doing a holiday tournament or have some exciting games to look forward to, that break, it's a lonely time. You're doing 2-a-days and getting a rest, a meal, and doing it all over again. Yeah,
Oldacre the steal, and she was fouled by Williams. Third team foul on NJIT. Jasmyn Roberts on the floor, 8 points, 4 rebounds, and 1 assist today. Stuff in the stat sheet, but just a shade under her average. Both points and rebounds.
See Miami with the 1-4 high offense too. So now with this type of lead, you're able to give yourself some options. Dwyer at the point guard. You know, could be some sets now that they don't get a chance to implement, perhaps in some game. Could be some new offense they're working on. But Dwyer's been a big part of their growth, Roy. You see that assist right there. And she's been the one to say, hey, coach, I want to come in and watch film. And what she's gotten out of that film is a sense of accountability. Not like I did something right or wrong in this film, but she sees how her actions impact the team and the play. So, you know, having that vision and responsibility now. Nice shot for NJIT here late. But seeing that in a different way has certainly carried over a level of maturity to the team and into Dwyer's game into this season.
Bond the bucket for the Highlanders. Miami back to work. Under 4 to play in Coral Gables. Oldacre sent out of bounds. Quality defense from Trinity Williams. Canes defense rock solid today, Brooke.
Yeah, great vision there by Hylton. She'll finish in the lane. That's what these long arms and length from the guards will do. And then you pay it off with more inside points.
77-43. Less than 4 to go back at Coral Gables. Brooke Weisbrod, Roy Philpott. Canes well on their way to improving to 7-0. One of 22 remaining undefeated teams in college hoops. They were trailed today. First meeting with NJIT out of the America East. It's been Cheyenne Day Wilson. It's been Lamyah Hylton. And Jasmyn Roberts, who was bumped and fouled, looking to get into double figures once again. Roberts has 8 to go along with 4 rebounds. Spearman will check in. Oldacre goes out, and Kyla Oldacre, we'll mention her name one more time. The improvement in the footwork, her ability defensively, and just activity has been impressive these last couple of weeks.
Yeah, she has. I mean, her growth since seeing her, all the way back to the McDonald's All-American games. The efficiency she had today, shot 4 of 6, 9 points, 5 boards. Fortunately had the foul trouble, but I will say handled it really well. Because again, like one of those happened because she had been calling for the basketball early on, didn't get it, and then got knocked out of position. Trying to get back in is when she created the foul. So sometimes those things happen. Us guards don't always get the ball to the post when we're supposed to. I'm sure they'll work on that though.
Us guards, you mean you primarily?
Well, you don't pass at all. So, yeah.
Truth in that statement. Dwyer comes up short. Thuniga off and running. Well, you certainly can understand NJIT in the America East, where you got teams like Vermont and other programs near the top that will compete for that conference championship. This will be a team that'll be a lot to handle, coming off an 8-8 year in the league a season ago. They made the tournament in terms of the America East postseason contest. And Thuniga, the America East Rookie of the Year, now a year older, a year wiser, the creativity and vision even better. This will be a team that is going to be a lot to deal with in the regular season and come tournament time as well.
I like any team that puts a challenging schedule together, and Coach Lane did that. He said we want to challenge and prepare our kids and make sure that we're having fun. I mean, it's fun to play Notre Dame. It's fun to go down to Miami and play. So these are great experiences that are not only that, but they're obviously challenging. And you learn a lot from playing against big squads like this because it's only going to make you sharper. You're going to head into your conference play with the edge and to say, hey, we've tested ourselves. We got beat up a little bit. So let's go back, recover, and come out stronger and try to get to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, Highlanders coming off a win at NEC foe Fairleigh Dickinson their last time up. And that was at the end of November. Meanwhile, for the U, DePaul comes to town. That's an ACC Network broadcast on Friday. And then Baylor in San Antonio, another stiff test against a ranked foe. Miami's already taking care of business against Mississippi State. What will that game look like? And then Louisville in league play at the end of the month comes down to Watsco Center. So the schedule is intriguing, to say the least, for the rest of the month for the Canes.
Yeah, the December challenge for the Canes, especially with DePaul and Baylor. That's a great out-of-conference test for them. I mean, you go against the SEC, now you got the Big 12 right there. And Baylor is the squad, having a good season themselves. Sarah Andrews, Edwards, both putting up big buckets for the Baylor Lady Bears.
Off the turnover, here's Dwyer. Trying to thread the needle. Anderson poked it out of bounds. Less than 3 to go. Miami with 9 steals today. Defense, one of the best potentially in the conference this year. The firepower that we've seen from the Canes the last couple of games has really stood out.
half of the teams they've played haven't even scored 50 points this season. NJIT looking to become the 4th.
And Roberts traveled.
I always think the real true test, and for me, if I were a coach, would be to say, hey, let's try to keep the other team to a single-digit quarter. Right now, NJIT is just at 4 points here in the 4th quarter. So you talk about really locking down, and when it matters, if the Canes can do that, that's a big-time win as well.
I mean, like, that should be a turnover chain in basketball if you do that. You know, like what you
Yeah,
see
I
in
agree.
football when they celebrate the interceptions or fumble recoveries. And, like, you hold a team to, let's say, I don't know, 8 points or less in a quarter.
Yep.
Then you get to kind of celebrate that. Maybe if it's in the second half. I don't know. I kind of like that.
A big gold D with a big gold fence on it.
Yes.
The defense chain, the dog defense chain.
Lattimore down low, connects.
I'm with it because Miami started the whole turnover chain thing, right? This was
Right.
their house. So it's only fitting. See, I do know some college football things.
Props to you.
Thanks.
Lattimore in double figures for the first time this season now in her 4th game back. A very encouraging sign.
Yes.
Jaida Patrick will check back in. 81-43, less than 2 to go. I remember you used to do some sideline work on these football games for ESPN. We miss Brooke Weisbrod on the sidelines on the gridiron.
Yep. I was out there on those turfs every now and then. Ooh, good positioning for Miami. They have been inside.
And a chance for 3.
Yep.
Lattimore. Or Spearman,
Boy,
excuse me.
44th point in the paint today. We love to see that. A bounce pass, you catch with 2 hands, you ball fake, and you finish all day long. Great play.
3rd foul on Corman. And Spearman with 8 points, 4 rebounds. Missed the free throw, tracked down by NJIT, stolen away, and Roberts was hammered. Well, Corman came up with it, then gave it right back to the Canes, and Jasmyn Roberts now to the free throw line and a chance to exceed her season average.
I think the pressure that Miami's bringing right now is also really smart because what if you need a late game steal? You know, these are perfect situations where you put your players in and say, like, okay, if we don't get a steal, you know, and you probably don't foul if you're Miami, stop the clock. But, so, all right, let's say we're down 3. We got to get a steal and try to get up. And so now you create a situation where you got the turnover, you stop the clock, and you put yourself on the line. So you can look back at these moments later on in the year to have those successful defensive possessions too, not just offensive.
85-43, Roberts with 12. She's perfect at the line today with 4 free throws. 6 rebounds as well, so exceeding her season average now in both points and boards. Up and under went Corman, and the freshman from Maple Grove, Minnesota, going to shoot 2. Brooke, in the ACC, as we gear up for league play next month, what else has caught your eye around the conference?
Well, I think that the young talent that's out there has been so exciting to watch. You talked about Jaden Donovan from Duke. I mean, everybody's talking about Hannah Hidalgo from Notre Dame and the magic that she's been able to put in place. I love seeing Georgia Amor and Elizabeth Kitley out there as the 1-2 combo again this year for Virginia Tech. I'm so excited just to see how this postseason works. I don't want it to start yet because I'm just enjoying regular season. But when postseason play starts, I really feel like we're going to have 1 or 2 ACC teams in the Final Four.
Well, bold predictions from Brooke Weisbrod here in early December. Dwyer now in double figures, by the way, with 10. Right there with Patrick and Roberts with 12 points apiece. And all of a sudden, Miami, 5 different players, 6 different players scoring 10-plus points. Gingrich left open. That's a 3 that's short. Roberts another board. And the shot clock is off. Roberts for three.
Wow, a 4-point quarter. Now, perhaps it'll stay that way for Miami's defense, but that is pretty locked down defense, suffocating.
87-43, our final score. Miami remains undefeated as Katie Meyer's team now 7-0 and on the verge, gaining traction in the top 25. We'll step aside and we'll hear from Cheyenne Day Wilson coming up.